family, it's your girl Crystal. Welcome back to Black Does Crack. I hope you guys like my new look. Thought I'd try something new for the new year, but shout out to my girl Lovely at Lovely Braids and Weaves. I have her number listed down below. If you want to check her out, if you're on the north side especially, she's off Beaufort Highway. We are literally in the last few days of 2018 and 2019 is right upon us. And so today I have something I want to share with you guys. It'll be really quick, but I think it's a great way to end the year.
This world is filled with damaged, broken people, and they're not doing anything about it. And they're just trying to sweep it under the rug and act like it's not a big deal. And they don't want to believe that that's the reason why they're still not having good relationships or why life isn't as good as it needs to be. Because they just refuse to accept it because they don't want to face the hurt. It's too difficult. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier to act like, nah, I can't find a job because where I live. I can't find a man because there's no good men around. I can't find a woman because the women want money and I don't have any money. Like, you come up with all these other excuses rather than, no, you got issues. And that's your first problem. You know what I'm saying? Fix your issues and you'll see everything start to change. But it's just difficult for people. You know what I'm saying? So the goal is to encourage them and help them to see it. But it's a tough task.
Okay, very short but profound video. As the young man said, the world is full of people who are, I would just dare to say, messed up. All of us have some level of dysfunction in our lives. And it's normal because we're all human beings, we're all flawed. And so every relationship we have, whether it be family, friendship, romantic relationship, employee-employer relationship, co-worker, whatever it is going to be flawed in some sense because we are flawed. And I feel like we are so afraid to acknowledge our flaws. We've come to a place where we literally have accepted dysfunction as the norm, and now we celebrate it. The whole single parent phenomenon, single mothers. I've even heard single mothers go as far as celebrating Father's Day because they say, well, I'm the mother and the father. I get it. You're an excellent mother. You're doing the best you can do. You're going out of your way to take care of your children, but you can never be a father, just as a man can never be a mother. We've got to stop that. Everybody else knows that a child needs a mother and a father. But for some reason in our culture, it's normal to just say, well, they have a mother, that's sufficient. And that's not sufficient. Yes, you can raise a healthy, caring, normal adult with just one parent. But the reality is we need both. Men and women both bring something different to the table as parents, just as we do in relationships. They are complementary. That means they go together and together they make the best result. When you take one out of the equation, something's going to be off. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean the parents are bad people. But it means that the child needs both. And we've got to come to the place where we acknowledge that and stop celebrating dysfunction. And we look at dysfunction like it's a bad word. All it means is that things are not functioning the way they were intended to function. There are a number of things that can cause dysfunction. It's not always our fault. It could be something as simple as you have a spouse and they pass away and now you're left as a single parent. It can be that someone walked away from you, or you got a divorce, or you had a relationship and it didn't work the way it was supposed to work. There are a number of things that can cause that dysfunction. It doesn't make you a bad person, but we've got to acknowledge that the dysfunction exists. That's the only way we can deal with it. So we've got to stop doing that. I hear people complaining about their, the whole baby mama thing, the whole baby daddy thing. But the reality is we chose those mates. And I know that's hard. That's going to, rub some people the wrong way, but it's the reality of it. Even when we get married and you marry the wrong person, you have to take some responsibility in that. Yes, again, there are things that happen. No, you cannot control another person. You cannot make that person do the right thing. But the reality is you chose that person. And especially if you did it multiple times. So if you have several baby mamas, several baby daddies, you've got to take some responsibility in that and say, you know what? I should have done that a different way. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. That's what I want everybody to understand. people take that so personally and they get offended and, well, you can't tell me I'm a bad person and, you know, because I made this decision and you didn't make that decision don't make you better than me. Of course not. Nobody is better than anybody else. But the reality is we have to take personal responsibility for our actions. That's everything that happens in our lives. We can't keep blaming other people. Men blaming women, women blaming men, black people blaming white people. We got to stop that. Yes, there are some things that are systematic. We've already addressed that. We know that now. But now that we know that, what are we doing within ourselves to change our own narrative? That's the question. Now that we know the system is against us, now that we know everything around us is set up for us to fail, why do we continue to put ourselves in positions to fail further? Let me share something with you guys. Everyone knows I've been divorced now a little over 2 years. Well, it took me almost 2 years to reach out to my ex-husband. We met for coffee, and I'm sure he was wondering, like, what is this about? I didn't tell him what it was about. I just told him I needed to see him and that it was kind of important. So we needed to meet. We met for coffee and we sat down and talked. And what I did was I apologized to him. I made a list before I got there of every single thing I could think of. Everything I did wrong, everything I should have done that I didn't do, everything I did that I shouldn't have done, ways that I should have handled situations differently. I apologized for every single thing I could think of. And I also thanked him. I thanked him for certain things that maybe I didn't say thank you for while we were married. But the reason I met him was to apologize. And no, he didn't apologize to me. He accepted my apology and we had a decent conversation. He never apologized to me. But the reason for the meeting was not for his apology. It was for my apology. I needed to apologize for myself because I had to take personal responsibility for the part that I played in our relationship failing. See, it's very easy to blame the other person and say, well, they did this and they did that. You know, they wronged me. They cheated. Whatever the situation was. It's very easy to place the blame on the other person. And even though those things might be legitimate, the reality is the breakdown of every relationship, I don't care what kind of relationship it is, the breakdown of every relationship has more than one side. And sometimes we have to accept our own personal responsibility. We have to say, you know what? I should have handled that situation differently. We can no longer blame everyone else for our problems. As the young man said in the video, we like to, give excuses for why we can't find a good man, why we can't find a good woman, why we can't find a good job, why we're broke, why we're unhappy. But the reality is we have made certain choices in our lives and we reap the consequences of those choices daily. So if we want different results, we've got to make different choices. If we want better results, we've got to make better choices. As we close out 2018 and head into 2019, I want you guys to get excited. I want you to be optimistic about what the new year holds. We're going to tackle some tough issues in the new year, and we're going to talk about some stuff that may hurt, but it's necessary. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the impact that we're making on people's lives. I'm going to leave it there, and I pray that you guys have an amazing new year. Be safe. And I will see you in 2019. Also, guys, don't forget, if you have questions, comments, or things you would like us to discuss, please email us at fixblackcracks@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Black Does Crack. I love you guys. Have a wonderful new year. Be blessed.